Today's topic is how to prevent sexual abuse. So I know this is a very loaded topic, but it is something that we should be aware that happens, and it happens a lot more than we would like to admit. The statistics right now in Europe, at least 1 in 5 children under the age of 13 have been sexually abused. The large majority of that number is children between the ages of 0 to 5. So we want to be talking to kids from a very early age about naming body parts, consent, a safety network of adults in our vicinity that we trust with our child. And we want to take all these precautions but still talk about this topic with your children in a way that is not scary and actually gives them tools that they can use if they ever find themselves in a situation like this. So I think the easiest way to teach children about this is by saying the 4 rules of self-protection. And this is something that you want to talk to your kids about over and over again, not in a scary lecturing kind of way, but always repeat the things that you want your children to learn and understand, right? So children learn by repetition and by reenactment. We'll get to that in a moment. So the 4 rules are very simple. So what you want to do with kids is you want to give them very simple instructions that are easy to follow, and these are really easy 4 rules that you can talk to your child about and your teenager as well. I have unfortunately worked with a few teenagers who have been in very difficult situations and did not know what to do, but have found it helpful, these 4 rules, because even if they're not able to enact the 4 of them, at least the last one you want them to really absorb. So let's get to it. The first rule of self-protection is say no or stop. If you are uncomfortable with something or with somebody, you say no or you say stop. That's my dog drinking water. The second rule of self-protection is you scream. You scream as loud as you can. So it is important that your child understands that they are allowed to scream and that they should do so if they are in a situation where somebody touches them inappropriately or makes them feel uncomfortable or sad or angry. And you want to avoid saying things like when a stranger touches you, because a lot of the times we know that over 70% of sexual abuse to children, the perpetrator, the abuser, is actually somebody close to the child or close to the family. So this stranger danger is important as an important concept, but it's not enough, because we have to accept that the danger is a lot closer than somewhere. When I was growing up, what I was told was that these perverts in the park like to flash children and grab children, and I just felt very, very scared about that. And the reality is that this idea of the flashing perverts in the park is not really what the majority of abusers look like, or this is also not the way they usually groom children, right? So going back to the rules, first one is say no or stop, and the second one is to scream. And here you want to say if somebody touches you in your genitals, or makes you feel sad or angry, or asks you to keep a secret, and this is a secret that makes you feel ashamed or weird, or makes your heart really tight, gives you a stomach ache or tummy ache, then you should scream. The third rule is run away. There's no reason why you should have to stay in this place with this person that's making you feel uncomfortable. And the fourth rule, which I think is the most important rule, is tell somebody you trust. Tell an adult that you trust. And here you want to reinforce with your child what their safety net looks like. So in your safety net, what you have is the adults that the child can turn to for anything. And in different families, it will look differently. It might include older siblings that are adults, or it will include grandparents or aunts or uncles. It really depends on your family makeup. But one thing that is crucial is that in the safety net, that you include an adult that is not a family member. So maybe a teacher, because sometimes children are scared or embarrassed to tell their parents if something happened, and they're more likely to tell a teacher. So so talk to your child about this concept of the safety network, and talk to the people who you want in your safety network to be part of it, and also share with them the kinds of lessons that you are giving your child about sexual education, things that you are teaching them. Okay, so now that we have the 4 rules, number 1, say no or stop. Number 2, you scream really loud. Number 3, you run really fast. Number 4, you tell an adult that you trust. So for children, the way they learn best is through play. So here I would suggest that you do some activities with them that include these rules, so that they are not you know, these things that are foreign to them, and you know, you only talk about them when you have a very serious tone of voice or when something happens. No, this is something that we should be incorporating into daily life, right? So if when you decide to do these activities, you can do them in many ways. For example, you can have your kids enact what the rules are, and sometimes it is more difficult to put certain things into action if we have never done them before. So if you allow your children to have a moment where they do this no, stop, scream, run, and tell, they will be almost like become more used to it, and they will do it more instinctively without thinking too much about it if anything ever happens. So that's one way that you can teach your kids about these safety rules. The other way is you can have pieces of paper with the rules written down on them, and then you can ask them to look for pictures or draw the rules, right? So draw somebody saying no or stop, or somebody running away or screaming or telling an adult. So you want to make this into a fun activity, even though it is a very serious message. And this is the best way to convey serious messages, is through simple language, playfulness, and making your child aware that you will believe them no matter what, and that you will love them no matter what, and that you will be there for them no matter what. Because a lot of abusers, the way they silence children is by saying things like, you know, your mommy and daddy are going to be upset with you, or they will not believe you, or adults don't believe children because children lie. There's all these manipulative things that abusers will say to children to keep them from being silent. The other advantage of having these rules and having people around you know that you teach your children these things is that your children are also less likely to become victims, because abusers are looking for are looking to get away with it, really. So if they know that your child has been trained to protect themselves against sexual abuse, then they will be less likely to approach your child as well. So I hope this helps, and I know that it is a very scary topic that we try to avoid, because I don't know, sometimes there's this feeling that if you talk about it, it will happen, but this is not true, and this is not a way of protecting kids. You know, not telling them about these things is not a way to protect them. I don't mean live in fear, or, you know, put the fear of God on your child about the sexual abuse thing that they have to be careful with, but make them aware that their body is their own, that they should, if anybody asks to see their private parts, that they're not entitled to it, because it's your child's body, and it should be respected and loved, and you know, you can't have anybody you know, try to look at it or try to touch it and try to make them feel scared or ashamed of anything. And they can't have somebody who asks your kid to look at their own at their genitals, for example, or to touch them. And that if this happens, that it is okay to talk to you about it, and that everything is going to be fine. So I hope this was helpful. If you have any tips of your own, or if you've had any experience teaching your children about safety, you know, anything, just DM me or leave a comment. If you found this helpful, put a like and share it with somebody who will also benefit from this information. Thank you.